listening to Combat Sports UK.
Combat Sports UK.
Rob Smith back again for Combat Sports UK, and I'm here with friends of the channel, Dacre Bradley, as he prepares for FCC fight on March 1st. Dacre, how are we, mate?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, glad to be back on the channel, speaking to Rob. Happy days.
And so you're fighting Reece Parr. He's an undefeated opponent. What sort of, how much research have you done into him? How much do you know about him?
I mean, I've watched his fights. I think that's pretty much what anyone would do in preparation for a fight. So you've got a good idea of the things he likes doing, but amateur styles change quite a lot. So, you know, you've got to be very careful judging someone on what you see out there. So, yeah, no, he's a very high quality opponent. These are the kind of guys I want to be fighting towards the end of my amateur career. So, yeah, I'm very happy with the matchup. I'm just excited to get it cracking, to be honest. Like, coming in with a full camp for the first time in a long time, feeling fresh. You know, the first time in a long time I've been fighting with just one fight booked, one opponent in mind. So it's almost like a different experience again. So yeah, I'm buzzing for this one.
And so do you think having, because obviously it was such a crazy 2024 for you. It felt like I feel like another fighter we both know, Benadozi, he's kind of just both having like literally fight after fight after fight after fight. And so having a longer time to prepare, do you think that's we're gonna see a different level of Dacre Bradley on March 1st?
Oh, 100%. You know, like with all due respect to Reece, I had as many fights as he's had in his whole career in 6 months. So obviously towards the end of that, you know, that you're going from one fight to another, you're not really peaking, you know, but I wouldn't change anything. You're obviously carrying injuries. There's the, you know, the normal stuff that goes on in a fight. You're just carrying into the next one and toughing it out realistically. But I wouldn't change it at all because I got all the experience I wanted. I had a lot of success, fought some very good guys, and it's got me to where I am now. I'm going back and doing a full camp. We're just focusing on one person. Like I said, it feels like a new experience. It's refreshing, to be honest. Like just feeling yourself peak and everything all fall into place just before the fight, rather than sort of just scrambling from one fight to the next, you know. But you know, at that period of time, I was making up for lost time because I'd had a little bit of a period away from the sport. But yeah, now I'm in no rush. I'm just focusing on one thing at a time, and my current focus is March the 1st. I'm putting on a solid performance against a solid opponent.
And so your opponent is 5-0, he's undefeated. He's also got 4 finishes. So how do you kind of prepare for a fighter like that who can be a dangerous finisher?
Yeah, I fought good finishers before. Like Christian Young, when I fought him, had more finishes. He had 100% finish rate. Like I think it was 5 at the time. I fought Morgan Rees. He had basically the same finish rate as Reece. So you know that fight, obviously, it was a close fight. You know, but I've shown that no matter what the experience is or what the guy's finish rate is, we're going the distance. You know what I mean? But you know, I'm not really coming into fights with like I'm trying to go the distance or get a finish. You know, my fights have just happen that way. Do you know what I mean? So I finish guys in Muay Thai and stuff. You know, a lot of that's not really out there. So you know, some people may perceive me as someone who's not finishing fights in MMA. That's not been the case, but that's just how they've been sort of playing out. So I guess from his end, he has to look at someone who's never been finished. You know, going up against guys with very high finish rates, beating guys with very high finish rates. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's an interesting matchup when you look at it. You know, like I've gathered over an hour of cage time now, which is invaluable, I believe. Like that's really what amateur's about. So yeah, it's exciting going into these sort of matchups. Like, you know, the guy is expecting a finish early, so that's when I get excited at the thought of seeing how they react to round 2, round 3. You know what I mean? Because it's a completely different gravy when you're in there and the waters are getting deep and you're looking at each other in the eyes and you're wondering who really wants this more. You know, I know he has gone the distance, but it's like I've got such a confidence in myself that no matter how tough it gets in there, that I can finish a fight. Do you know what I mean? Even compromise this or that. I can go the full distance. You know what I mean? So it's more for me at this point in my amateur career about coming in and getting finishes of my own. So we'll see what happens on the night. So it's an interesting matchup for sure.
And when I was doing my research into this fight, I was listening to your opponent's FCC preview interview for their channel, and he was saying that he believes you like aggression in your fights, and that's probably why you maybe haven't got the finishes. So can I get your response to that? Do you believe that's the case?
Yeah, see, that's what that bow to my face because you know, like there's a lot of my fights that aren't actually out there to be seen. So I'd be surprised if he, you know, when I heard that, I was like, I don't think he's done it's proper research, but it's all good. It's all good. We'll see what the crack is on the night. You know what I mean? But it's interesting seeing where his head's at for sure. Because you can just sort of see the way he's talking about things. Like it's dangerous to overlook people in this game. That's what I'm going to say. But we'll see what the crack is on the night.
And so I kind of want to talk about your last fight because for those who don't know, you fought for the unified title in Cage Warriors Academy, and the fight didn't go your way. I'm just curious, what was there anything in particular that went wrong that night, or what kind of did anything go against the game plan? Was it injuries leading up bad weight? What kind of went wrong on that night?
I'm not going to come on here and make excuses, to be honest, but
Hmm.
realistically, I made the mistake that I think my man might be making as well. Is looking well past that fight. I was like,
Hmm.
I'm going to do this, turn pro, do this and that. He's on there talking about fighting the champ and this and that. So it made me smile, like honestly, because I've been in that headspace before and I know how it ends. So that's all I'd say. Like that's the bottom line, really. Like made a lot of mistakes in the build up to that fight and paid the price for it. Lessons learned, and that's the reality. What it was. There's no point coming on here and saying from losing a fight like that, you get to address a lot of issues you wouldn't if I won. Because if I won, I'd have just carried on doing the same stuff, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't be overlooking people in this. That's the bottom line.
Well, I think that's what makes you so like. I think that's why I like your mindset. You're very mature for such a young fighter in your career. That's the one thing I remember when we first interviewed you. That was the thing that impressed me most is your mindset, and so it's good to see that you recognise the mistakes you made. And I know because in our first interview post Unity, you were saying how you're looking to go pro as soon as possible, and now you're saying I kind of want to take my time a bit more and just kind of see where things go. Like I think you seem like you're a bit more happy to stay in amateur MMA a little bit longer. I think that the more time you spend here, the more it'll benefit you. I think belts and records, that's all for show in amateur. It doesn't really mean much. That stuff matters when you get to the pros. So I think you've got the perfect mindset as an amateur fighter. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, what it is most importantly for me in this was last year when I was fighting. I was like, I'm gonna fight to do this, to do this, to do. You're like planning after the fight. Whereas with this, I don't have any plans in my head other than March 1st. Literally tunnel vision for March 1st. And that's something I did not have last year. Um, and I just that's the main change is I'm just focused on one date, one opponent. I'm not thinking that this fight gets me to this or to that. Just on this. I'm just taking it as it comes. And my work will speak for itself. I'm not trying to plan ahead because nothing matters but what happens on March the 1st on that night in that cage. And that's the reality of it. So that's what I'd say the biggest change in my mindset is just the sole focus on the task at hand. And yeah, that's pretty much what I think the biggest change in my game has been.
And so this is your FCC debut. In my opinion, it's one of the best like amateur and also I think it's one of the best UK-based promotions we've got at the moment. So how excited are you to be making your debut on that promotion?
Yeah, buzzing. As soon as I saw that it was in Bolton Football Stadium, I was like, I'm down. Like, you know what I mean? So it's a big enough promotion as it is. It's on UFC Fight Pass. A lot of good fighters have come off the show. They're very good at promoting as well. So yeah, but like just seeing the venue, I was like, yeah, I'm down. And I was thinking it's really the only part of the country I haven't fought in. I fought all over really, but I haven't fought in the Northwest. So yeah, I'm buzzing for that. Wanted to fight someone from like sort of that region as well. Obviously, me and him are coming from two of the best gyms in the country. Um, so yeah, I knew putting my name out there, I'd be getting matched with guys from that area. Like I'd say MMA is bigger up north than it is down south. Realistically, do you know what I mean? There's a lot of big name gyms up north. So yeah, I just wanted to go out there, test myself against those guys at that a venue of that scale, and yeah, on a show as big as it is. So yeah, very happy.
And since you kind of see it as like a top team derby, you've got Manchester top team versus GB top team.
Yeah, 100%. I think yeah, 100%.
And so in March we've got obviously there's a big event towards the end of the month in UFC London, and your teammate and fellow friend Lonnie Kavanagh's on the card. What do you believe we can expect from Lonnie on that night?
Ninja shit only. You know what I mean? That's you put Lonnie in a cage and yeah, you get highlight reels.
And so training with guys like that, and also I know you train with like cage warriors level fighters, PFL level fighters. So training, how much does training with people like benefit you as an amateur fighter? Because I can only imagine, because I know certain amateur fighters who just train with fellow amateurs and maybe a few pros. But at GB Top Team, I feel like you've got a plethora of high level talent. So how much has that benefited you as a fighter?
Yeah, loads, 100%. Training with that level of guys, I think from 125 pounds to 155 pounds, the amount of bodies we've got, it's just crazy. I can mix it up with the best pros and amateurs in the country and in the world. You know what I mean? I'll be real. And it's yeah, the coaching we get, the facilities we have, it's just unrivaled, I think. And yeah, no, it's just a privilege to go there and train with those guys every day. And I love the whole process of it. And yeah, it's just like when you get sent anyone, there's just bodies. You can just go for this round, that round, book all your rounds in, and you've basically like built a simulated fight with your opponent with like different each round. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Like how quickly you improve at a place like GB Top Team is mad. And yeah, just loving the process of just growing every day. And yeah, you're being around people on the same journey as well. You know, like none of this would really be possible without my team and teammates, coaches. No, can't thank them enough.
Perfect. Well, Dick, it's a pleasure to have you on as always, man. I wish you the best luck on March 1st.
Cheers, brother. Excited. Let's do it.